I'd like to call this meeting to order, our regular town council meeting of March 8th, 2023. Welcome to everyone. We'll begin our meeting with the pledge to the flag. If you'd like to stand to do so. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We also take this time to pause just for a moment of silence, just to reflect and honor however you like. Thank you. Let's all pause. All right, thank you so much, everyone. And again, welcome, and a special welcome to our new town attorney, Mr. Jason DeLoach, or Judge Jason DeLoach, however you'd like us to refer to you, and to the council members, hello, and then to all of our guests. And that's who we're going to start with. Any public comment? I see we have one of our former council members, our great former council members and Green Team organizer, Miss Margaret Pooley. So welcome, and Dr. Dallas, welcome. I'm not sure if you're joining us to join in and listen in. I know we have someone else via phone here. If you have any comments, we'll open the floor for any comments from anyone at this time for three minutes. I was going to say 3 seconds, 3 minutes. Just give it a couple of minutes more. I know sometimes it takes a minute for us to unmute, but okay, great. So we will move on to our first item, which is old business. And
I think Dr. Dallas unmuted there for a second.
Dr. Dallas, was there something did you want to address the council? Nope. Okie dokie. So the next item is the reconsideration and introduction of ordinance 23-OR. I'll get right with you, Dr. Dallas. Hold 1 second. -OR-01, amending the town's code of ordinances, chapter 285, concerning property maintenance, addressing exterior paint peeling, chipped and/or discolored paint. Mr. Barnes, would you like to quickly expound on that, and then we can go ahead for our vote?
This ordinance was at the request of our community compliance officer in trying to get some clear wording, particularly dealing with surfaces that have peeling paint, flaking, and chipped paint. This has gone, you've seen it multiple times, as Councilmember Chester was not happy with the wording. So she liked the wording from Cottage City. So I sent out just earlier tonight a revised ordinance. I sent it to Judge DeLoach so that he could look at it too. But I deleted all of what we currently had about peeling paint and inserted the section from Cottage City that Councilmember Chester liked. And so I would hope, she's not here tonight, unfortunately, to say whether this meets her approval, but I think
she got it ahead of time, so
clearer.
Yeah, and we met last night. So hopefully, if there was an issue, she would have.
And you're introducing it tonight, so it will not be adopted until next meeting. So if there's a issue or change still needed after this, we certainly can do that, and especially after I know Judge DeLoach didn't get a chance to probably review it with short notice, so he can take a look at it and let us know.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes, and thank you for making those adjustments. Is there a motion to accept the introduction of ordinance 23-OR-01?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Ms. McCauley. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Johnson. Any questions, comments, discussion? If not, all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 All right, thank you very much. And so, Dr. Dallas, I want to go back. You had unmuted.
Good evening, everyone. How are you today?
Good evening. Welcome.
How are you doing?
I'm good. It's just I'm just dealing with my dad, so right now I'm at the gas station, so I couldn't get the phone on mute.
Oh, I
I
see.
just want to see what we can do about our street in terms of traffic. Can you hear me?
Yes, you were breaking up just a little, but go ahead. We can hear you. Uh-oh.
Yeah, the traffic on our street during the evening hours is just unbearable. It's just a constant row of cars all night long, and then the towing truck is coming through high speed all night long. I mean, it's just like being on a commercial highway, and it's out of control. And it's been like that. It's just that in the middle of the night, there's no one working that you can complain about it.
So like early morning hours, are you saying after midnight, after 11 p.m.?
Forget about
So Dr. Dallas, you're kind of breaking, you are breaking up. We can't hear
an
you.
ongoing thing for the last operation, the noise at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then they're 10. It's not right. Okay, because the timing is just kind of poor, and I was on the road.
Yeah. So what you can do, I think you also spoke to Mr. Barnes about it. Go ahead, Mr. Barnes about it. Go ahead, Mr. Barnes. You were going to make a comment.
Oh, I was just going to help Dr. Dallas out a little bit. She stopped in 2 days ago and kind of gave me, so I could give you kind of an overview for her on her behalf. The issue is there at Ingraham, where she lives at Ingraham and Lafayette, of course. Lafayette is a no truck traffic street. However, the towing trucks do go down there. Then the bigger issue she has too is the refrigeration truck that sets in the Riverdale Park side of Lafayette Street at a business there located catty-cornered from her. And that refrigeration truck runs off and on all night. And so as I indicated to her, I can have some conversations with Riverdale Park, with the administrator there, and see if we can't figure out if there's a nighttime restriction on those kinds of noises. The unfortunate thing with Lafayette is because one side's in Riverdale Park and one side's in Edmonston, it's a little tricky. I did also tell Dr. Dallas the Pinoni traffic study for 46th Avenue and Lafayette. They are in their final stages of review. They brought on they had a person leave and that was working on the study. They brought on a new person from the state that actually previously worked with State Highway. Brian wanted her to review it one more time before they present to you. And she comes on board March 20th. So you'll have the Pinoni study, which they did traffic counts. They looked at the alternatives, like you said, of closing off Ingraham Street or closing off Lafayette at Ingraham, forcing everybody in and out on 46. So they'll have lots of good recommendations and hopefully will help too. But in the meantime, I'll have some conversations with Chief Beal on what we can do about the enforcement side of Edmonston in terms of the traffic and the noise. And I indicated that to Dr. Dallas. I hope I've stated her position appropriately.
It's clear. Yeah, it is kind of difficult. It's been, I guess it's gotten worse, and it's difficult having Riverdale over there. And Riverdale doesn't really feel the impact. It's us that we feel that impact. So hopefully we can have a conversation. And the other thing with that refrigeration truck, if they have a noise meter, it may not register as being an issue. You know, you understand what I'm saying, Betsy?
And after Rod told me about it yesterday, and because I'd like to wander around at night. I did drive down there about 2:30 in the morning and stayed for about a half hour. It was more entertaining than some of my neighbors. And I
It's a
feel
lot.
sorry for you, Dr. Dallas. And there's other residents that have complained about the noise. So
Mhm.
I'm hoping that when we get the study back that we can, my dream is to block that street off and make everybody come down 46. But that's just my personal dream. But I'm hopefully we'll get it taken care of by summer. Is that, you think that's feasible, Rod, or you think it might have to go into fall?
No, absolutely. Brian, the study will be back here the end of the month, 1st of April. He did indicate to me on some of their traffic counts, he wanted to know if it sounded reasonable that 40 to 50 trucks went down 46th Avenue per hour. And I said, yes, that's a very
Yeah.
reasonable number. And he said, well, on Lafayette, their traffic counts showed 10 to 20 vehicles an hour, which,
Mhm.
I mean, it's less,
Yeah.
obviously,
That's a lot, yeah.
but still a lot for a residential area that is, residential on two sides, at least halfway down Lafayette, or maybe not halfway, but pretty close.
And when the trucks go down there, I mean, I've walked down there and you can feel the ground vibrate. So I'm Dr. Dallas, I don't know if you feel in your house, but
She
I can
does.
feel it when walking.
She does. That's another issue altogether for her that she's talked about, and the settling of her house, she believes, is a result of that truck traffic to some degree too. So, she's looking at other solutions too, as we are. But I know her. She's kind of at wit's end, but I was asking her if she could hold off at least until we get the study back, so that we can see what the solutions the traffic engineers are recommending.
Pardon me, Council. Ms. McCullough, pardon me. My computer is getting ready to go off and my cord is outside. So Mr. Barnes, can you take over if my battery goes out and my tablet is dead?
Okay.
Lack of preparation. My apologies.
Okay. All right.
What I was going to say, we have a new attorney. Have you come across this issue before, or do you have any? I know it's putting you on the spot. Do you have any suggestions?
Well, I prefer not to give advice on an open session, an open meeting.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. I can put something in writing to you if you'd like, but
Anything you could send to Mr. Barnes. I mean, I stir the pot and then Rod cleans it up for me.
all right. I'll talk to
Yeah.
Rod.
We'll look forward to continuing to try to come up with solutions that solve this problem on a permanent basis. And it may well be that all the traffic goes in and out of 46th Avenue in the end when the traffic study and Ingraham Street is closed, or Lafayette is closed off at Ingraham. If that happens, then that's going to change somewhat. But then we've got the second issue about the refrigeration of a truck in Riverdale Park. And so we'll talk to them see if they have any nighttime restrictions on noise and if they're using a noise meter to monitor it. So thank you. And thank you, Dr.
Thank
Dallas.
you.
Mr. Barnes,
Thank you. I
Mr.
appreciate
Barnes.
it.
Mhm.
Rod,
Mr. Johnson, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. As far as those refrigeration trucks go, a lot of times when they're sitting, they have to run. But if it's over in Riverdale or mainly in Riverdale Park, to be honest, I don't think they're really gonna really do too much about that, because they didn't do too much about when on their side when they had the mechanics down there racing the cars and whatnot. So as far as the refrigeration trucks go, I don't think it's going to really say too much about that, because trucks they gotta run overnight if they park. If it's a refrigerated truck.
Right. Thanks, Mr. Johnson. Good point.
But I have a question on the refrigerated trucks. If they're running and there's no one in those trucks, can we go that way to kind of quiet it down? Because
You know, I know that Apollo Ice has refrigerated trucks that run all night also.
okay,
And we do get complaints from people along 47th Avenue with that issue. So I don't think there's anyone in those trucks either during the night.
Good.
So
I mean,
yeah,
if there's
it's a-
keys,
So the question becomes whether or not that's permissible.
correct.
If you can get a building permit to actually have refrigeration trucks running all night in that close proximity to a residential area. And I don't think that's the case. And so that's why I was trying to see what their actual building permit, occupancy permit states. They have to be in violation of that because there is a noise control parameter in residential / commercial. I used to have a manufacturing facility in an industrial park, and we could not do noise over a certain decimeter after 9 p.m. or before 5 a.m. And we were nowhere near residential. So those rules are much more stringent for residential. And if it gets to a point where the residents cannot sleep at night, that's a state level issue. You can't convince me that that is not illegal. I refuse to believe that.
Yeah, and Dr. Dallas, nobody's saying it isn't illegal. I think what everyone's saying is we've got to do the research and find out how it works and what restrictions there are and how we can enforce them. So we appreciate those comments.
Okay.
Okay, anything else further on that? All right, back to the agenda. Minutes. Any additions, changes to the minutes? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Betsy.
I'll second. I'll
Thank you,
second.
Mr. Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item of business is the final consideration of ordinance 23-OR-03, amending the town's code of ordinance chapter 34, elections, deleting voter registration by the election officers or the town clerk. This basically is cleaning up a situation we had when the ordinances were updated. We do not take voter registration at town hall with the town clerk. It's all done through Prince George's County Board of Elections. We want to make sure that's clear. So this corrects that.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. And do we have a
I'll
second?
second.
Thank you,
I'll
Mr.
second.
Johnson. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And Mayor, I'll turn it back to you.
Mayor, can I, real quick, I wanted to respond to Dr. Dallas real quick if she's still on the line.
Sure, go ahead.
I think she's still here.
Yeah.
She is.
I am.
Yeah, hi, yeah, this is Sarah Turberville in Ward 2, and you are absolutely right that the county does have ordinances on permissible noise levels in residential, commercial, and industrial. I think what we need to figure out is sort of what does this mean, since there's like an intersection between residential and industrial. There's like maybe a 10-point decibel difference between what's permissible in one and not the other. And it also looks like under the municipal code for Prince George's County that there are limitations, as you described, that would be sort of, I think, maybe even after 6 p.m. and before 7 a.m. So I'm cautiously optimistic that there is something that we can do here.
Sarah, do you have a copy of that, or should we Google that? And
Yeah, I'll drop it into the chat, Betsy.
okay, well, I was thinking for Rod, every step he can have one step ahead.
Yep,
Okay, I see that. Thank you.
sure.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.
All right, superb. Thank you, Ms. Turberville. The next item, our police department, our chief is not in this evening. He attended a new chiefs meeting, or it was yeah, uh, orientation. So, Mr. Barnes, do you have an update from Chief? No.
Chief Beals indicate he'll give you a update on Tuesday night at our budget workshop.
Okay.
It is his night to talk with you about his department, and so he will lead off with anything. I am not aware of any issues or events or activities that we're planning at this time together. We're just working on our spring activities.
Mhm. Any
You want me to-
comments, questions for our police chief that you want to relay concerning our police department or anything? Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say, and I wish he was here to hear me say this, but I spent a little over an hour with the chief at the end of last month. And he walked me through some of the safeguards that are in place around, to ensure that we've got like how the body camera system is working, the kind of red flagging system for officers that might indicate that there's maybe a problem amiss. And give me 1 second, buddy, okay? And at any rate, we're gonna have some more conversations, but it was a really great conversation, and I really was appreciative of how attentive he was to the concerns around accountability. So I thought that was fantastic.
Very good. I'm glad to hear that. That's what it takes. That's what it takes. Sometimes it's that one-on-one, so that connection. So thank you very much. But this is recorded, so he'll get a chance to hear that. All right. So as we move on, Mr. Barnes.
We had such a great session last night with the budget. I think I covered most everything.
Yeah.
But
You did.
we are working on, Avery's working on a number of events through April. We have our dumpster day coming up. It sounds like we want to try to add maybe electronics recycling on that for March 25th. Then in April, we have our pictures with the Easter Bunny here at Town Hall the day before Easter with some craft events happening. We'll be planting the rain gardens through our partnership with Nature Forward as they embrace the Hispanic community to teach them about native plants. And so we'll be planting all the rain gardens on Gallatin Street on the 15th of April. And then on the 22nd of April is Earth Day. We'll be picking up trash along the channel, and then Eco City Farms has asked us to potentially partner with them with an Arbor Day event. We have 100 trees donated by Bartlett Tree Services to experts to give away that day, and they're going to do a seed swap and a few other activities. So we're very excited that they've reached out to us to do that together jointly on April 22nd. So we have lots of events. Next Friday night, come on down to the rec center, and you might win a prize during bingo, and our Miss Avery starring as Vanna and spinning the wheel, and we have dinner, lunch, or dinner, snacks, whatever you want to call it, for the seniors, and so it's always a good time. It's St. Patrick's Day the next day too, so we'll have a little special something there for that, and that is next Friday. And so please, if you can join us, please try to do that. And then let's see, I think that pretty well catches us up to date on what's going on. I gave you already a overview of what the grant projects are and what the status
You
of
want
them
to
are.
tell them about PGCMA? We're hosting.
Oh, yes. Next Thursday on the 16th, the Rec Center, we will be hosting the PGCMA. It is one of the first meetings with the Maryland Municipal League being there to talk about all the wonderful things they do for the communities. And Mayor Gant will be our hostess with and anticipating.
Well, we will be town council. Town
Yes,
council.
yes. I hope all of you can come.
If you can
Dinner
come,
will
if you
be
can.
dinner will be La Fondita food. So excited about that as always. And it's a great time as we host the 26 other communities in Prince George's County into our neighborhood, and hopefully the rec center is getting a paint job and a floor job before next Thursday, so it'll look its best and ready to go for those coming to Edmonston.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. Any questions for Mr. Barnes? All right, if not, council dialogue, is there anything, anyone want to update us with anything?
I noticed over on Crittenden Street, I know that the people were doing work over there and the streets are a little rugged, but a lot of those little potholes could be filled in, you know, and it's, I mean, you only need some of that blacktop patch and, you know, put it in the hole and mash it down. See, I don't, to be truthful, I don't see why it hasn't been done yet. I mean, Public Works, I know they go up and down that street. I mean, but sometimes you gotta like light a match under them to, you know, really do something. I don't really want to talk about them like that, but it's only obvious. You know, come on, you're going up and down that street, but I'm pretty sure your tire hit them holes. You know, so go ahead and patch it up. And also over there on up from across the tracks from Forklift, that one body shop, wherever that is over there, they started parking their cars back over there. I remember when Chief Gibson was here, he had pretty much got that straightened out. But now that he's gone, it's like a graveyard for junk cars. That's what it looks like. All the way from that business, all the way around almost to wherever the intersecting street is. I think something should be done about that.
You are correct. It has gotten out of hand. And I think every now and then it takes just like a little sting or something like that to get them back on track again. I have noticed it. All of them are guilty. All of them.
Yeah.
We
And
were
That's all.
that's partially because of what Acting Chief Beal found out, that with the permits, right, that they didn't have enough parking spaces. So, you know, some of the auto body shops have 2 parking spaces and they have 5 cars, you know, so that overflow is, hey, oh yeah, we can't do anything with that. Okay. I was thinking about
Yeah, I'm talking about on the other side of the track.
I know.
Not down, but yeah.
Yeah.
But also, I think if I'm not mistaken, I believe he had said it's mainly parking planning that has to really do something about it, because that's parking planning lane.
What, right near Forklift, right?
Oh yeah, on the other side of Forklift, right across the track.
Across from the
So
junkyard.
that's a no.
Yeah, that's across from the junkyard. And a lot of these cars over there belong to the junkyard. They're not the body shop.
They just
I don't know
pull them
who they
there.
are, but I know there's a lot of cars there.
So
Yeah.
that might be
It's
just
like a
calling the
junkyard
county.
graveyard.
That might be calling the county, Mr. Barnes. What you think?
Yeah, absolutely. Where Mr. Johnson's talking about is our town limits in right there at the end of the building of that body shop there on Tanglewood, and then all the way the rest of the way to Alt 1 is a park and planning land. And I know that that's how they got the enforcement improved last time, was the park and planning and county came down and
Did it?
you know,
Yeah.
did it. So I'm sure Chief can do that same thing again. as I noticed, like Mr. Johnson, I noticed this week again how far down they were car. I believe a lot of those cars are actually employees
That
that
it is. It is.
park there because they don't have anywhere else to park. And
Yeah. Yeah. I
so,
see them in the morning.
but some of them are, like he says, junk cars. So, but
Mhm.
as far as Crittenden Street, we have a grant to completely pave Crittenden, and we're trying to limp by until the utility company tells us they're done and ready, and we can go in and do that. But in the meantime, we'll get the guys there to fill some, do some temporary fill. But we're trying to hold off as much money as we can because we do have a grant to completely repave Crittenden curb to curb. As soon as WSSC tells me they're finished with all of their little hookups and dig ups and fixes.
Yeah, but isn't there some patching in the garage?
No, the guys get patching from time to time all the time. I don't know if there's any in the garage, but they can take a look at the ones that are that they can, you know, fill up and put some patch in.
Yeah. No.
Did
All right,
anyone
that's all
else?
I had.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Greatly appreciate it. Any other comments? I wanted to mention that PGCMA is signing on a support letter for the FBI building to be in Maryland. So if you'd like to sign on, you can connect with PGCMA secretary, and there is a letter because otherwise, if it's not here, it'll go to Virginia. So
Virginia.
the jobs and the revenue that comes with that FBI building. Also, just an update that our U.S. State's Attorney and our State's Attorney went into one of our high schools to address gun violence, and they started in Suitland High School. And it was a great event, and it's one of the very first because it is very difficult to get into the high schools or into our schools to talk about certain subjects. But you know, Suitland had a shooting there, I don't know how many weeks ago. Was it weeks ago or months ago? And so that's why the state's attorney decided to do it. So we finally got a program inside of the schools. So they are also looking at other high schools. So of course I told them about Bladensburg High School, and not to forget Bladensburg. And it's an open forum where they have returning citizens, those who they had some celebrities there, which because we know our youth love to see the celebrities, but they had people who actually were down to earth and said, this is what I did because I didn't do this. You know, they had a county council member, Will Campos. They had Dave Rice, the football player. Is it Dave Rice? I'm not sure of his first name. They had him there. So the kids really listened. They had a gunshot victim that was there. She had gotten shot in the head due to crossfire. And she was there and she spoke. The children really related to that. And they had an opportunity to do questions. So they would write the questions on the card and we would, well, I didn't, I was the moderator. So, and the panel actually answered them. So it was really good engagement and we had resources there. So not only are we talking to the children and saying, don't do this, but they had a lot of, believe it or not, we had a lot of mental health questions from the children. Like, what do I do about having thoughts, violent thoughts? What do I do about wanting to kill myself or committing suicide? Or what is this mental health? How do I get help? And they actually wrote those questions. So I was really glad that they opened up in that way. So that means that our children are going through some things. So anyway, hopefully we can get it in Bladensburg and they can do it throughout the state and just address this. And this is part of what we do with Hands Across the Bridge. So that's why it's really so wonderful to me. Because we're talking about our children. Okay, I could go on, but I did talk to one young lady that I just happened to see her after I left, And she talked about the anxiety she had when she heard about Sandy Hook and the fear. And this was when she was younger, and the fear she had of going to school and what might happen. So, you know, kids thinking about those things and not necessarily telling anyone, it causes a problem, it causes that mental health issue. So it was really great. I was happy about that. And again, PGCMA will be at our rec center on the 16th of it's Thursday. And then also, we all know about Mayor Woolhan in College Park. Melinda Mendoza is the vice president of PGCMA. So she has assumed the duties of the president until June, where she'll take over as president. So we are still operating as PGCMA, and all is well. So hopefully, if you can, please come out and be there just to introduce yourselves, if nothing else. Okay. And I think that's all I have right now. So thank you very much for your participation. And again, welcome, Judge Deloach. And that's it. Oh, you know, I wanted to mention, I'm going to let us go, but I wanted to mention that some of what Dr. Dallas was saying was part of what we were talking about last night with that industrial area, you know, bringing it up, having certain standards so that certain businesses, don't get the opportunity to come in. So we need to think hard about that and maybe put some other ordinances, noise ordinances in place. So thank you very much, everyone. If there are no more comments, I will entertain a motion to adjourn our meeting tonight.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Ms. McCulley.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Good night.
Good night.
You know.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.